$7,500 to replace one turbo. On an SUV that's done just 44,000 kilometres, barely run in. That's the quote a bloke copped on his Range Rover. A near new car handing its owner a bill the size of a small second-hand one. And he is not alone, because that's the trap with SUVs. The prettiest, fanciest, most expensive looking thing on the lot is very often the exact one that quietly bankrupts the person who buys it. And the badge you're paying all that extra money for, half the time, that badge is the warning sign. So today I'm going to walk you through 7 SUVs I watch come through on the back of a tow truck, the ones Australians regret buying, the ones with the repair bills that don't just sting, they genuinely set people back. And then, because I'm not just here to scare you, exactly how to make sure you never end up being one of them. I'm Greg, 53, and the only thing I'm not is on someone's payroll. No dealer, no sponsor, no badge I'm protecting. So I can tell you the truth the salesman can't afford to. Some of these are genuinely nice things to drive. The regret isn't the driving, it's the bill. Let's get into it. First, let me arm you, because once you understand what turns an SUV into a money pit, you can smell a bad one before you've signed anything. 4 things do the damage almost every time. 1, the gearbox, and specifically the cheap, fragile types. The CVT, that's the belt-style automatic in a lot of cheaper SUVs, and the dry dual clutch. They're cheap for the maker to build and brutal for you to fix. When they go, and a lot of them go early, you're often looking at a bill that's a serious chunk of what the car's worth. 2, overcomplication. Air suspension instead of plain springs. A computer for every single function. It rides beautifully in the showroom, and then out of warranty, every one of those clever bits is a thing that can fail and an expensive thing to put right. 3, the diesel filter on a car that only does short trips. We have covered this before. A diesel needs long hot runs to stay healthy, and a fancy diesel SUV doing nothing but the school run is a clogged up repair waiting to happen. And 4, the orphan problem. If the brand's gone, or barely here, you're left with no parts, no support, and a car nobody wants to touch. Keep those 4 in mind, because every single one on this list got here on at least one of them. Right? The 7, counting up to the one I'd run from fastest. Number 7, the Holden Captiva. And I'll be kind, it got people into a 7-seater cheap, and that mattered to a lot of families. But there's a reason the internet nicknamed it the Craptiva. Under the skin it was a Daewoo with a Holden badge, and the V6 ones are known for stretch timing chains throwing cam and crank fault codes, the diesels for filter dramas, and just about all of them for random electrical gremlins, windows, lights, dash warnings, the lot. The later, post-2016 ones did get better, I'll give them that. But an early high-kilometre Captiva is a cheap ticket to a long, expensive relationship with your mechanic. Number 6, the Nissan Juke and its bigger brother, the X-Trail, when fitted with that CVT gearbox. This is the gearbox trap in a nutshell. The belt inside these can start to slip, and you'll feel it, surging, hesitation, and on the worst ones, the engine stalling at low speed over and over. And here's the part that really hurts in this country. A lot of the fixes that were rolled out overseas never properly made it here. So Australian owners have been left a bit stranded, to the point there's been talk of class actions. A well-maintained one with religious fluid changes can be okay, but it's a gamble on the most expensive part of the car. If you want one, find a non-CVT version or walk. Number 5, the Jeep Compass and the Cherokee. I wanted these to be good, genuinely. A Jeep should be a great thing, but the transmissions have been a lottery. The Compass had CVT transmissions that overheat and lose drive. The Cherokee's 9-speed auto became infamous for hard, lurching shifts. And there was even a recall because the thing could drop itself into neutral while you were driving. When the gearbox in a car is recall territory for shifting itself out of gear on the move, that's not a quirk. That's a reason to keep your money in your pocket. Number 4, the Volkswagen Tiguan. And this one stings because it's genuinely lovely to drive and the cabins are cut above. But it carries two things I watch empty wallets. The dry clutch DSG gearbox, clever, fast, and a known headache that Volkswagen had recall after recall over. And on a lot of these engines, a timing chain tensioner that can let go, which is a catastrophic engine out kind of bill if it does. Keep it perfectly serviced, in warranty, and a Tiguan's a nice thing. Buy a used one out of warranty with a patchy history and you're rolling the dice on two of the most expensive failures going. Number 3, the Mitsubishi Pajero Sport, the 2.4 diesel. On paper, the bargain 7-seat 4-wheel drive, and I know a lot of you are looking at them. But that engine has a real problem the brochure won't mention. The cylinder head is thin around the injectors and they can crack, a serious, expensive failure. Add the usual diesel filter dramas and some oil dilution complaints, and you've got a cheap 4-wheel drive hiding a grenade. The older, bigger 3.2 Pajero was a tank. This newer Sport, I'd want a spotless history and my eyes wide open, or I'd spend the money on something simpler. Number 2, the Range Rover Evoque. The car this whole video started with. It is the affordable way into a Land Rover, and that word affordable is doing a lot of heavy lifting. Because the buy-in might be reasonable, but the ownership is anything but. Gearbox issues, the all-wheel drive system, electrical faults, and, as we saw, turbo bills that hit $7,500 on a car that is barely broken in. The fault rate on these and their Discovery Sport cousins is genuinely alarming. Surveys have found problems on more than a third of them. It looks like a bargain luxury SUV. It is, in fact, a subscription to your service centre. And number 1, the big Land Rovers, the full-size Discovery, the Range Rover proper. And look, I'll say it plainly. There is nothing on 4 wheels that drives quite like a Range Rover. And I understand exactly why people fall in love. But as a thing to put your money into, out of warranty, it is about the riskiest SUV you can buy. The air suspension that sinks and costs a fortune to fix. The endless electronics, any one of which can fail and cost thousands. These consistently sit at the very bottom of the reliability surveys year after year, and the out-of-warranty repair bills can genuinely run past what the car is worth, at which point a beautiful $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 machine becomes scrap because nobody can afford to keep it alive. If you must have one, lease a new one under full warranty and hand it back. Buying an old one with your own money is how good people end up broke and heartbroken. Now, I promised you a fair go, and here it is, because this is the useful part. None of these are evil to drive. A Land Rover under full warranty, a freshly serviced Tiguan, they can be a genuine pleasure. The regret isn't the car. The regret is buying it used, out of warranty, without a single dollar set aside for what is coming. And the good news is the fix is dead simple. The reliable alternatives are the exact SUVs I pointed you at in my cheap SUVs video. The Isuzu, the Mazda, the boring, dependable ones that just start every morning and never see a tow truck. Less badge, far less heartbreak. So here is how you make sure you never end up on a list like this. 4 things. 1, find out what gearbox it has and get proof the fluid has been serviced. A CVT or a dual clutch with no service history is a hard no. 2, before you fall in love, spend 5 minutes looking up that exact model's known fault and what it costs to fix. Let the repair bill, not the paint colour, make the decision. 3, make sure the brand is still here, with parts and a dealer, so you are not buying an orphan. And 4, never, ever skip the pre-purchase inspection. Pay a mechanic to put it on a hoist, because the cheapest few $100s you will ever spend is the one that saves you $10,000. Do those, and you will drive past every car on this list with a smile. Skip them, and you might be the next bloke staring at a $7,500 quote on a car that is barely run in. That is the lot. And here is the line to take with you. The fanciest SUV on the lot is very often the one that empties your account. The badge you pay extra for is just the bill you pay later. Buy the boring, reliable one and spend the difference on a holiday. Now I want to hear it from you because plenty of you have been burned. What is the worst SUV repair bill you have ever copped, the model, and the number on the invoice? And if you reckon I have been unfair to one of these, tell me and make the case. I'm Greg. Look after each other out there.